is the future. The Everwar is a distant memory. It is a life of automation and pleasure amongst the stars. Welcome to your Topia. Humanity now lives in perfect robotic bodies. They are immortal, free from worry, free from disease, but they are not free at all. Headlander! This fantastic future world is ruled by an advanced artificial intelligence known as Methuselah. No one knows what it wants or why it has enslaved humanity. But this prison of plastic and fiberglass is about to change forever. Good head! Whoa, whoa, whoa. 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 Sweeping floors at the middle of the day. Dropped out of school just to get away. I'm just a kid, but I'm soon be dead. And all I want is some good, 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 good head.
All right, welcome to episode 163 of the Gamers in Beta podcast. This is CapnMikeM. It is a happy No Man's Sky week, and just like the fine people at Hello Games, I have journeyed back from Iceland, back in the Boston area, and happy to be with you on a Monday night, August 8th. And joining me tonight, we have Jay, Maniac17. How we doing, Jay?
Oh, not too bad, and didn't get to do any travels like you did, but I traveled a whole hour away from home and left for the weekend. So,
Oh yeah, where'd you go?
Traveled. I went to Mud Runs again, and I went up and visited a friend of mine I haven't seen in 2 years, so.
Sounds exciting. And let's also bring in Sean, Quicksilver 3355, who makes the meanest sandwich this side of the Tappan Zee Bridge. What's going on, Sean?
I've been up for 27 and a half hours, so not much.
Yeah?
Just riding on...
Those blue pills really work, huh?
Yeah, they do.
The rumor was that Hef just used to, pop a whole bunch of blue pills and would just sit in his room, and all the ladies would just take turns on him while he just laid there. No reaction, total like deadpan.
Well, I sure wish that was the case here.
Yeah, sadly it's not, though.
Sadly, I'm here.
So you've been delivering the laundry back and forth from New York to Vermont, is that true?
Yes, sir. Oh boy, and I'll tell you what, it's still been pretty hot, but it's nice. It's not a bad drive. It's mostly through the country, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't want to get into too much of Iceland because I want to sort of save that for the 40 cast because that's more of a lifestyle show, right?
There you go.
But yeah, speaking of driving through the country and temperatures, Iceland is all for me, baby. It didn't get higher than 58 degrees, and it was just gorgeous scenery, and I could really get used to that lifestyle. It was great. So listen to the 40 cast. Sometime later this week. I think the show comes out on Sunday usually, and I'll go into more detail there, but definitely 2 thumbs up for me on Iceland.
Oh, it was beautiful. Those pictures you got, they were pretty nice looking.
Yes, postcard-esque everywhere you turned. So
yes.
And the people couldn't have been more friendly, more accommodating. Everybody there speaks, perfect English, better than us. They've been learning it in schools from a very young age, so it made it nice and easy on my family, especially me, who cannot speak a word or syllable or anything of Icelandic. But anyways, let's get on to the gaming talk. Trying to catch up on the news today as I got back in town last night, so I haven't really been paying attention too much, but we have gathered some news items. First of all, we should say that Corey can't make it tonight. He's got some family obligations, and I don't think he'll be on next week either, as he says he'll be recovering from a bachelor party. Yet again, example 723 of why not to be friends with your high school or other people in life. You don't need to go to bachelor parties. And I think Joe is not going to be on next week as well, because for the same reason. So Joe, see in my book of things you shall not do, example 723. And I think tonight he's got some, I think, what do you say, eBay crunch time. He's putting up some stuff and things of that nature. So he can't be with us tonight. So those guys are missed for sure. So since I've been away, the Xbox One S has been released into the wild, and we'll get into that very shortly. But also Microsoft has released the Windows 10 anniversary update. And I booted up my computer just a little while ago. And, yep, my computer took the update, and a lot of things didn't work. I shouldn't say didn't work. A lot of things got set back to the default settings. So I'm crossing my fingers here that this is all being recorded, or otherwise this is for naught. But I'm looking at all my little sound things, and everything is seems to be recording, and the numbers are going up. So I'm hoping, but with our luck, Microsoft and Windows probably will bite us in the ass here. But also, they have, with their update, they have bit many gamers in the ass. It looks like, according to PCGamesN.com, the anniversary update might stop your Xbox One controller from working. It looks like Microsoft have been making lots of noise about the Windows 10 anniversary updating, citing all the great benefits, blah, blah, blah. But unfortunately, many users are reporting that the update actually caused their gaming experience to plummet, thanks to their Xbox One controllers no longer working properly following the installation. Post-update, some games no longer recognize when Xbox One controllers are connected via Bluetooth or through the official Xbox One wireless adapter. Meanwhile, Steam Big Picture Mode now registers one Xbox One controller as two, as do some games. Also, reports are suggesting the controllers are powering down during an attempted sync and are only working again once resynced and with the driver updated. Once the driver is installed, some games are no longer recognizing the controllers. So, geez, isn't that a whole bunch of happy news there?
And we go to our Xbox correspondent, Jay.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to try it yet. I have mine connected via USB, so I probably won't have an issue.
Do you have the anniversary update already?
I believe so. Yeah, my PC was on most of the week, so and auto updates are on, so it probably automatically did. Because I had one time when I came in and it rebooted and said installing updates. So.
Well, one way you will know, according to Major Nelson, is if you look in your system tray down in the lower right-hand corner and you click on the speaker, and then it should tell you what your sound is. If you go, there should be an up arrow there, and it shows you how to switch to other sounds. So if you don't have that, you don't have the anniversary update.
I click on the speaker, and all I get is it tells me NVIDIA high definition audio.
I don't have either.
Yeah, so you neither one. There should be an up arrow at the end of that sound device, and if there's an up arrow there, then you can change it on the fly rather than going into control panel. Huh. So it sounds like neither one of you have the update then.
Nope. Well, maybe that's a good thing from the sounds of things. Let's wait for them to get their shit right and then get it.
Yep. So yeah, curious. How other people, I haven't seen too much chatter of this online, so on the Twitter sphere about people complaining, so I'm wondering how prevalent it is, if these are just edge cases or what, but I thought I would mention that.
That and how many people are currently using an Xbox One controller with the wireless adapter or
me
have the newest. Do you have one?
I have the Xbox wireless adapter, the dongle.
The 360 or for the one?
For the one.
Oh, okay. So you're one of the rare ones.
Yeah, I am a rare bird, Jay.
Yeah, well, Mister, how many Xbox Ones are in the house?
Listen, I don't think I would talk too loudly, Jay.
I only have two. Well, until a few weeks, there'll be three. But
when you had three already at one point, right?
Yeah, but it was Jamie's when he left. He took that with him. So
yeah.
Yeah. But you are generally an early adopter for stuff like that, so there's probably not a ton of people out there with it. And the ones with the Bluetooth, I don't think there's a lot out there.
Not yet.
Because they just released, a week ago.
Right, and I guess there's already some good deals on the new controller. I heard some people mention it was $50
$11 off.
Yeah, $50 on Amazon today.
Yeah, something like that. I was going to look at it, and I'm like, nah, I'll wait.
So let's dive right into the Xbox One S. If you listen to the 40 cast this week, Alex has his 2 terabyte, and he said the S was for sexy, sophisticated, or
I believe it was sexy.
I'm only halfway through, so I haven't listened to it all yet.
yeah. So he seems very pleased with his purchase, and he has a 2 terabyte. So good on him, because it looks like they are going to be sold out for good, according to many articles that are out there. This particular article that I'm reading from is from Eurogamer.net, and they are theorizing that the 2 terabyte model is not coming back in stock because they want to sell you the 2 terabyte Xbox One S for Gears of War. So it's another sort of marketing thing, like, hey, why make more white ones when we can sell these red with the red ones with the game included?
Yeah, the thing is with this, though, is I think this is going to be a European article. Or obviously, it's Eurogamer, which they cover, the world. But I think this, if you go to Amazon, I've seen people hollering about it for over a week. That in the UK, in Europe, you can't order one. They've been sold out for a couple weeks now. But you can still order them on Amazon US and Best Buy and all that. So I'm not seeing this as an issue here, but it's odd how in Europe they've been sold out for weeks.
So I can also pull up IGN, and they published an article 9 hours ago, written by Joe Scribbles. I'm not sure how you pronounce your last name there, Joe. My apologies. But he says the same thing. The white 2 terabyte Xbox One S has nearly sold out, and Microsoft won't be making any more.
Wow, that's odd.
And that's from IGN.
You have to wait and get a Scorpio. Take that, you bastards.
Yeah.
But I should say, Joe also is the IGN UK news editor. So there could be some truth to this UK thing. But it would seem odd that they would just do it for UK and not the US.
Yeah, because like I said, it's pretty much, I'm looking at Amazon right now, Best Buy, and you can still order them. The 2 terabyte ones.
So the week I've been gone, I haven't been reading up on too much. I've just casually skimmed the Ryan McCaffrey article on IGN, and he gave it an 8.5 and said, hey, it's a great device, does blah, blah, blah really well, but if you don't have a 4K or if you're not a, home audio enthusiast, there's really no reason to pick this up. What is your feeling on this, Jay, since you had a week to sort of digest the news and read it and listen to people talk about it? I'd say, A, do you feel like you still want to keep your pre-order, or are you feeling regret that you don't already have it in your hands, or where are you at right now with this?
I have not canceled my order. I did wait to look at some of the reviews. Ryan waited a little while to read. I actually haven't read his updated one. He wanted to wait because he wanted to fully test it before he put it out. But a lot of the early ones that came out were saying, it's basically all said the same. If you don't have a 4K TV, there's really no big reason to do this, to pick up the new one.
Yeah. Now, Alex on the 40cast says if you don't have like 30 to 40K, not 30 to 40 megabytes, download per second, then the kind of, the 4K streaming is not really going to work for you, because then, then it's just going to it's not going to display it to you at 4K. It's going to downsize it or whatever, whatever the technical term there is to degrade your quality of the picture. Yeah,
and I can understand that, but even like I said, with the TV is a smart TV, the one that I have. It's a sharp, 4K. And it probably has some lag, and also the fact that it's not a UHD, the ultra high def there. Is that what they call it? Where it enhances the colors.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I don't have that, so it's just 4K. But I use the Netflix app on that, and man, it looks way better. And I'm streaming Netflix, and everybody knows my internet is not great. I get 12 up, or 12 down, so It's not that great.
I got 12 up too, Jay, just so you know.
Yeah, well,
Gentlemen.
so it's not the
The girls at school used to call me the lighthouse.
Jesus, the sea shaft.
Meet Corey, but
Yeah.
Did you like that picture? That was a good picture. I shall call you the shaft of the sea.
Yes, that was a good one. Check Mike's Twitter timeline. Look in the media. You'll see it. You can't miss it. You'll know as soon as you see it. But yeah, as far as internet speeds, they're not that great. But I see a difference when I stream, and I don't know. Maybe it isn't pulling a 4K, and it's just upscaling. It still looks better. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm hoping with the 1S, and hopefully I don't regret picking it up.
Now, are you feeling any sort of, gosh, I wish I bought the 2 terabytes so I'd have it now in my greedy little hands, or you're okay with waiting 2 weeks?
I am fine with waiting 2 weeks because it is going to be a pinch to get this one, cash-wise. So I think I'm going to sell my Wii U and my the Xbox One that's going to replace. So
when you say a private sale or bring them in for a trade?
Private sale, yeah.
Private sale.
Do a trade. Jeez and crow, they give me probably $20 for the Wii U and $100 for the...
Are those deals over with now on GameStop and things like that?
Yeah, that was only one day that they would have. Well, and like I said, up to who knows what they actually would have given you.
Yeah.
But Best Buy, you can get $105 from Best Buy for just a.
But that doesn't
Xbox One 500 gigabyte controller with all with all the cables and everything.
I'll get with you after the thing, Jamie. We can.
Ooh, look at that private sale.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, Devious Mr. Matt's got his greedy little mitts on trying to get one of mine. Go to that casino, buddy. Bring home some of that casino money, and then we'll talk. So, Sean, remind me where you're at. You don't have any consoles, but you're. I know pre-show you were talking about thinking of maybe getting another Xbox, even though the one you had before died on you, and Microsoft said sorry. Nothing we can do for you, right?
Yeah, no, I'd like to, because they're cheap enough now, and if I can even get one from Jay, that would be even better. So, because I know it's been taken care of. I'd get one. Because at least then I'd be able to play with everybody for now. At a discounted price. So that's not too bad. The S would be no good for me. I don't have a 4K TV. If I had the money and I could buy a 4K TV, then I would probably get the Xbox S.
Got to make more sandwiches or deliver more whatever you deliver on your truck.
Yeah,
bring home some of that money.
I wish I could.
Now, Mike, for you, even if you didn't have the 4K, would you still put one on your desk just for the space savings?
The 4K that the Xbox One S that I'm getting, I'm not even putting in my office. I'm not even getting it for space saving anymore. Okay. I'm just replacing the one in the main family room because that's where the new 4K TV is.
And that's why I was wondering because I knew you didn't have 4K in the in your
eventually
office.
Maybe for my birthday I'll ask for a small 4K TV for my office. The prices on the smaller ones are a little bit easier to take because all I really need in the office is about a 32 inch.
Yeah. And I know 4K monitors aren't cheap either, so.
Right, that's the other option. I could get a 4K monitor. Those are about, I think last time I looked around, $480, I think.
Yeah, you're better off with the TV, Jesus.
For the Asus.
I was looking at the 4K monitors because I'm building my rig right now, and man, they are not cheap.
Yeah. So let's move on. Sony is going to be holding a reveal. This is all under the, I guess, air quotes of report. All the sites, whether it's Polygon, GameSpot, IGN, Vice. Patrick Klepek now is at Vice as opposed to Kotaku. So that's what I'm looking at right now. And he is reporting that on September 7th, there will be an event in New York City to show off the PlayStation Neo. And
Mike, are we going to explore the boroughs again?
I'll have to look and see if there's an invite from, what do they call that? I forget what the group is now. It's been so long since I've been on the forums.
Oh, yeah. Didn't they get rid of that group, though?
I don't think so.
PlayStation... I can't remember what it was now.
Something like Insiders. I can't remember.
The Insiders, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. So I'll have to take a look and see if that's an option or not. And supposedly it's going to be a technical showcase, and they also at the same time will be delivering, I guess, dev kits to certain developers, although you would think many developers already have it, right? Because the developers have been codenaming this thing 4.5 while the internal name has been Neo.
Yeah.
Ryan McCaffrey tweeted out a little while ago that he thinks it's going to be sort of like an Apple thing where they say, hey, this is the console and it's available in 4 weeks, because he thinks it might come out October 7th or 13th or something like that. So,
and that has been the rumor, so.
Right. So that's exciting stuff. We're going to have another console reveal this year. That would make, number 3? And if Nintendo could get their act together this year, you'd have 4. But we've seen the Xbox One S. We've seen this, a little bit of the Scorpio. And now the Neo. And I think privately today, Jay, we were talking about flops.
Yes, that was, I believe, was just people joking around saying that... the Neo is going to come out and it's going to have 4.5 flops. Get it?
Yeah.
PlayStation 4.5.
Yeah. So be curious to see how many flops the Neo has versus what Scorpio said, 6?
Yes.
6 teraflops, yep.
Yeah, 6 teraflops. So it'll be flopping all over your living room.
Speaking of flops, let's get into the community question of the week. Corey came up with this one. What is the best controller of all time? Corey, I think last week said it was his balls and cock, and a runner-up to that was the NES controller. So that's his answer, and we also have some answers from the community. So let me read some of those, and then Jay and Sean, you guys can pull up the rear, because that's what I know you guys are all about. Shownuff71 of Gamer Husband says, for me, it's the Type S Sega Saturn controller. I can't validate that response, as I never had a Sega Saturn.
No, me neither.
Denny, a beer guy, a.k.a. Loose Screw of Tap the Craft, and congrats, guys, on 3 years. He says, for me right now, the DualShock 4 from my past, the GameCube controller was pretty dope. I also like the original Xbox Slim. By the way, I also hated the Atari 2600 hand cramp joystick, and the Genesis one sucked too. Such language from Denny this week.
I know, he seems angry.
Can we scale that back a little, Denny? And let's see, we have Dr. Love, Dr. Detroit, Slasher. His hot tub is always open for all you ladies. Of Open Forum Radio, he says, in my opinion, the Xbox 360 controller is uno number 1. All right, Jay, how about you go next?
All righty. So we have Ninja Bread Man. I'm going to say this wrong because that's what I do, but Gamox 14. That's how I always hear it in my head.
Gamox.
So that's G-Hamox 14.
Now, Ninja Bread Man, do you also have some moxicillin over there, Gamox?
Some moxie. His favorite is the Xbox 360. No question in his mind. So... our friend Aaron Shoesmith, THM Magnum Spy, does Commodore 64 keyboard count? And as usual, he is screwing us. And then we have Freddy Fruto Kruger. Hopefully I said that one right.
Yes. Let's give Sean a little round of applause for Jay there.
Oh,
It was an accident. I didn't mean to say it right.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
I like the 360 and liking the Xbox One. I started gaming with consoles with OG Xbox. Have nothing against the other one.
all right. Jay, a.k.a. Meef J from the Everyday Gamer, says, yep, Xbox One controllers feel better, but the quality is crap. They don't hold up. 360 controllers at least last a bit. And Alex from the 40cast.
Don't bungle this name. Please don't bungle this one. A lot of pressure on you here.
No, thanks.
Is that Ice Sky Kiddo?
It's Ice Sky Kiddo from the 40cast. Xbox 360.
He is now Mr. Skyzone.
I hope that's... I'm not even going to answer that.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so a lot of answers for the 360. I would have to agree. The 360 was pretty much set the standard, wouldn't you say? I felt like they were quality controllers. Sure, I went through a lot, but I also played a lot more on the 360 than any other console. So
yeah, I agree. That's the only I'm still using a 360 controller. I really that one feels the best to me. I mean, as far as controllers go.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to kind of throw a curveball here. I do agree with you guys, but one of my favorites that I had, or actually I should say two of my favorites that I had was, if anybody remembers the NES Advantage for Nintendo.
Yes.
It was a big joystick, and it had turbo and all that on it, and you could turn the turbo on and off and adjust it.
Oh, God, I forgot about that one, yeah.
Yeah, that thing was badass. And then the other one was a Microsoft Sidewinder. I had the force feedback one that I used to play stuff with. It was great. So, but I'm liking the Xbox One controllers, and I'm really eager to get my hands on the new one, the S. I think that is going to really help. The texture grip I like that with the Elite. So,
do you get sweaty palms, Jay? Is that why you need the grips?
No, not really, but it does help with the grip. I do like that, especially with the Elite, where it's kind of rubberized, so you kind of get that squid grip without having to have this squid grip that keeps peeling off on you.
Right.
So
cool. Sean, what about you?
Yeah, I'm 360 for sure. I mean, that's the one I've had for the longest. I mean, 360 was. I mean, I did have the original Xbox controller, and that thing was like hefty. I mean, that thing was huge.
The Duke.
Yeah, and so.
Oh, I've got one.
When the 360, I do too. I still have it, and then so when I got the 360, the controller was much more manageable. I've only played with the Xbox One controller a few times. I mean, I like it and everything, but I don't. The Xbox 360 controller works fine. I don't really need to upgrade right now at the moment. I mean, unless I get an Xbox One. So
yeah.
You know.
So when you play Ark, are you a mouse and keyboard or are you a controller?
Oh no, mouse and keyboard. Ark is a tough game to do with controller. You could ask Corey that one. Yeah, I keyboard's a lot easier because I can make all kinds of hotkeys, so I don't have to go crazy trying to figure it out. The wheels and everything else you got to do with the controller.
Now, have you done much playing on Sony's consoles over the years?
I have not. That's the only console I never had. I had the Nintendo and Xbox is pretty much.
So many of the guys that play traditionally on Xbox consoles complain about the placement of the thumbsticks on the Sony controllers, how they're just both in the center rather than kind of offset on the 360 and the One have. To me, I sort of acclimate myself pretty easy. It's not a big adjustment for me, but I know many people complain about the placement of the thumbsticks on Sony's DualShock controllers.
No, I've played with them before. I never really had a problem with them. I mean, I had a problem just figuring out what button was what because there's more buttons on it on the bumpers and stuff. You get the two extra. It's got 4 instead of just 2. So I mean, other than that, no, I've never really had it. Either one works. I mean, you just got to figure it out. That's all.
Cool. I'm going to play a clip now from Joe, and he's going to explain what controller he likes the best. And I am going out on a limb here and saying it's not an Xbox controller.
All right.
Right. So sit back and listen to that.
Hey everybody, Joe Stay here, and I want to say that my favorite game controller is the PlayStation controller. All of the iterations. That controller has been the most influential controller in all of gaming. Like every single controller out there is pretty much based off of the ergonomic design of the original PlayStation controller. So how you like them apples, Sin? Also, honorable mention, the GameCube Wu-Tang symbol controller is pretty awesome too, based solely on aesthetics. By the way, I've been playing Headlander, thanks to Jay for hooking up the code. That game is so good. Super good. And I encourage everybody to go play it. I can't wait to come on next week and talk about it in detail. But just so you know, it's great, and you should play it, and don't sleep on it. See ya.
Jay, why don't you tell everybody the community question for next week?
All right. This was brought upon by some of the news about a Batman Telltale game, some of the issues they had on PC and whatnot. And people saying that it is their favorite game from Telltale so far. Have not played. I cannot say. You guys either?
I have not played yet, no.
No, I haven't yet.
Okay, so the question is, do you have a favorite Telltale game, and why?
So maybe between now and next week I will have played the Batman one. But there were definitely some issues. I saw people complaining about the PC, and you were telling me that the game had an issue where it was defaulting to the onboard video as opposed to a video card that you might have installed.
Right.
I also saw people like Ken from Zeitguide complaining about the performance on Xbox One, but then people like Rare Bishop refuted his tweet and said it worked perfectly for him and he had no issues. So it remains to be seen the quality of the performance. I have looked at casually at reviews, and I think I saw Polygon gave it an 8. And so it seems to be scoring high, or in the 8s, and that's a good score.
I'm hearing people are really enjoying it, but for me, it's the same thing. I just assume wait. I'll wait till they all come out. Although I've done that and not played, like I haven't even played the Game of Thrones ones yet and stuff. So I need to get in and kind of pop them up. I think if I pop them up on the main screen of my console so that I actually see it sitting there, I probably would jump into and play, because those are ones you can jump in for 20 minutes, half hour, and then kind of bail out if you want. So.
Yeah. Sean, do these Telltale games do anything for you at all?
Not really. I mean, I guess is Life is Strange, is that a Telltale game? Or
no, that's Square Enix.
That's Square Enix. I mean, I played The Wolf Among Us. I liked it. I mean, it was all right. I mean, it's not that I don't like them. I don't.
That was my favorite one.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that.
For the ones that released earlier.
So Jay's already given us his answer for next week.
Well, I haven't played the others yet.
Just looking at the Metacritic scores for Batman, it looks like the PC one has a Metacritic of 74. The PS4 has a Metacritic of 72. It doesn't have a score on here for Xbox One yet. So,
and I think they fixed that issue. So.
Yeah. So. Look for us to tweet out that during the week and respond. And, of course, you can use the Wave app to send us an answer back and get your voice on the show. Let's move on to what we've been playing. I'll go first because I haven't been playing anything. Took a week off from gaming. I think the only thing that you might consider is I played a little 1010 on the airplane, and a little Doge 2048 on the airplane. But other than that, no gaming whatsoever since Sunday through Monday. So it's that, about 8 days or so?
Yes.
So I hope to get back into it tomorrow, but I got a lot of stuff I got to catch up on. I got some guys come over to do some work on the house tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. But what about you? What have you guys been up to? Why don't you go first, Jay?
What have I been doing? Well, I've been running around a lot and doing my redneck stuff as usual. But I did get a chance to play some Uncharted Drake's Fortune. I think I mentioned
the first one.
Yeah, that's the first one. I have the collection for the PS4, so that I've been playing that one. I started with, a lot of people said skip the first one, but I kind of wanted to try it. I'm enjoying it. It can be tough sometimes. Sometimes you just don't know what you need to do next, because it really doesn't. Or I guess, because of the way I play things, I run into an area where it doesn't give you the prompts for where you're supposed to go, because I'm exploring the area so much. I'm getting into an area where it's not triggering the thing that says, this is what you need to do. So it kind of shows the age of the game there. But I am enjoying the gameplay and stuff, and under the assumption that it's older. And I think if I had just gone in and played 3 first or something like that, I don't think I would enjoy it as much. But because that's why I wanted to start from the beginning. So, hopefully I can get through these. But I'm enjoying it.
I found myself in Uncharted 4 last week. I looked up and I was on this beach they called the Black Sand Beach, and mountains were above me, and some sort of I guess things that happened from volcanoes, some sort of things that pushed up through the earth and sticking out of the water that were disjointed from the mountains, all these caves and things like that. I was like, wow, I'm in Uncharted 4 here, but I didn't climb anything. I didn't trust my finger muscles. Drake has the best finger muscles.
So you climbed stairs, but you didn't climb rocks.
I did not use my fingers. I leave that to Laura and to Nathan.
Yeah, definitely. And along those lines, I had Headlander, which I'm playing on PC.
You had Head? What was that?
Headlander!
The game is better than I thought it would be. It's a lot of fun. It's you're in the future, and you're like the last human being, but all that's left of you is a head, and that's in like a spacesuit helmet, but you've got like a rocket where your neck would be, and you've got to go from body to body, robot body to robot body, and kind of move around, and then you can also just jet off and go through different areas. So it's really interesting. Probably get into it a little more in depth on our next podcast when I get a chance to play a little bit more. I know Joe is playing, and he's thoroughly enjoying it too. And I believe he had mentioned he is going to try and get a write-up done for the site also. Surprising how much I enjoyed this for, it's kind of an indie game, but not so.
Adult Swim Games put this out, right?
Yeah, Adult Swim Games. Who was the dev? I can't remember who the dev was on that now, but they've got a lot of good games that they've put out in the past. So, but like I said, we'll have more coverage on some future ones, because I know Joe is really getting into it heavily. He had mentioned to me that he's enjoying it so much that he's surprised at how much it sucked him in. So. Be good, and he's gotten really in depth, because there is like an upgrade path that you can take and whatnot, stuff like that. And I told him I'll probably lean on him a little bit for some of that info, but I am enjoying it quite a bit. The flying head is very interesting, and it's a mechanic that I was like, oh, what a gimmick! How gimmicky can this be? But it's really enjoyable to play. So
is that something on an airplane? Flying head? Oh, I'm sorry.
We don't have Corey's sound machine, Sean.
Yeah. And then, of course, still playing Tumblestone, because it's, when I'm kind of tired and just, in a lull, I'm just fire that up and play through an area and enjoying it. So
I saw that Gamer Goalie was having some issues with the game. He was really enjoying it, but he got to some place that he couldn't solve, and he walked away from the game and said, I'm done. And then I saw a tweet today that he went back to it today with a fresh mind and beat that level on the first try. So
yeah, and that's how it usually happens too. You hit the spot and you keep banging your head against it, and then you're like, screw it, and you come back to it a couple hours later or the next day or a week later, and you beat it first try.
Anything else, Jay?
That's it.
All right.
It's been busy. Summertime's here, so believe it or not, I actually have quite a tan. I'm not neon white this year, so I've been getting out and playing outside too. So.
All right. Sean, what about yourself?
Well, not to bore the listeners, so I'm going to skip over the ARC, but I am playing on CGRP. I'm also going to be recording tonight. I'm actually going to be going on after the podcast here, and I'm going to be recording, and I'm going to throw it up on YouTube so everybody can see what I've been doing, to understand it maybe a little bit better of what I actually do.
You're scaring me here. What are we talking about?
No, I'm going to, it's going to be like an episode of RP.
Oh, okay. I don't know what you were recording there, what you're doing and stuff. It's throwing me off.
Oh, no, that wasn't me. That's Jay.
All right.
I also picked up Doom this week, and I picked up Dishonored on Steam sale. Doom was $30, so I couldn't pass it up. And let me tell you something. From the first moment I started that game up, the music, once it starts going, all of a sudden I get amped up and I'm ready to go. I mean, that is just crazy. So I haven't dove into it that deep yet, but I'm planning on doing that at some point this week.
Now, what about you, Jay? Have you finished that game?
What's that?
Doom.
The Doom? No. I surprisingly, I haven't gone back to it. I don't know why. I really enjoyed it, but just, time. I think, too, because it's on the PC, so I tend to finish them more if it's on console, but I do want to get back to it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait. And then I Dishonored Definitive Edition I picked up for $12, so I played that already on the 360, but now I have it on my PC, so I'll probably fire it up again and see how it looks on the PC.
Awesome. Well, we'll look forward to hearing about that down the road. Let's get into some other news topics here. Our good buddy Dan Emmerich of formerly of One of Swords, now of Ubisoft or Ubisoft, depending on who's saying it. He is the community manager for Rocksmith, and he's also working on the Fractured But Whole game.
Yes.
He had made a post on the Ubisoft Rocksmith forums that Rocksmith 2014 remaster is coming out in October. That's correct here. I don't know much about the game and what the main difference is. Here in his post, he says the remastered is a free patch for all platforms and an updated re-release of Rocksmith 2014. Remastered is the same core experience that has helped so many people learn how to play guitar, now with additional improvements and redesigned features. So, Jay, I'll ask you. You were dabbling with this a little bit. Have you stopped? Where are you with the progress?
Again, summertime's here and been extremely busy, and my work schedule has been bouncing all around. So I haven't had a lot of time to.
And your dog ate your homework, right?
I don't have a dog, so
you could have a mic. But when you did play, how did you feel like it was teaching you or anything?
Yeah, I think it works great. It really does. The best thing about it is that, it doesn't really frustrate you because it kind of walks you through it. It works with you. If you're not playing the notes that well or you're missing a lot of notes, it backs it down for you. If you're doing well, it kind of bumps it up. So you never really feel like you're being overwhelmed or it's too easy. So, it kind of just gives you that thing where you kind of feel like you're actually moving ahead. So I haven't played guitar since I was in my teens, so I was enjoying it very much. So,
now, Sean, do you play guitar at all?
No. Little piano, but that's it.
What do they call those? The ivory?
I tickle the ivory.
Tickle the ivories, yes, thank you. Cool. So, Jay, you'll have to let us know if you get this free patch for Rocksmith, and let us know if it's any different, if you feel it's improved, and if the experience is improved, and it's also improving your skills. Now,
it was kind of weird to hear this. It's like remastered. I guess because it's the 5th anniversary, we're going to do the remaster, and I'm like, so what's changed? So I guess they're making some UI updates that people have asked for, stuff like that. And then there's also, and if you already own the game, you're going to get this automatically.
Yeah, it's a free patch.
Right, so it's a free patch, except for there are some new songs. There's 6 bonus DLC songs that are going to come with this. And if you currently own the game already, you're going to get the free patch, but you won't get those songs, those 6 songs. It says that they will be made available for purchase as DLC for existing players later on. So people who buy the game, that remastered version, who don't already have the game, will get that one. So,
yep, they're going to get.
That's the big difference.
They're going to get songs from Bob Marley and the Wailers, Elvis Presley, Fun, Jackson 5, Outkast, and Train.
Yeah,
boy, that's a tough list right there.
Yeah, if I miss it, I miss it. I'll stick with what I've got right now. They've got so many songs you can get; it's crazy.
You can't fuck with the Jackson 5 or Elvis or Bob Marley, but the other 3 bands I'm not that familiar with. Anyways, let's move on from that. I know Jeremy from Dad's Getting Grounded got a lot out of Rocksmith, so we'll see if he picks up the remastered edition, and he'll have to let us know if it's improved his playing or not.
Or if he's already got it, he'll have it. So.
Let's see. 3 of Disney's most treasured 16-bit platformers are returning, and they'll exclusively be on GOG.com. Now, I've never played these before. I might have been playing with my rock and roll band when these came out. I have no idea. But they are The Lion King, Aladdin, and The Jungle Book. So I didn't even know there were video games for these 3. Apparently there are. Apparently,
Lion King, I love that one. I love that one. I had that on Sega. And same with Aladdin.
Never played any of these, so I can't get too excited about them, but Jay is clearly excited. And again, they're only going to be on GOG for now. And you can get them for 10% off individually or 33% off as a bundle.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that, because I've been actually looking for The Lion King, because I really enjoy playing that on Sega. So I'm hoping that at some point in time, because they've done this with the licensing, and it's Disney, so that's a big thing, because usually those are held tight. I'm hoping that they'll release these for consoles at some point in time. That'd be kind of nice.
Yeah,
but
Disney.
I'll take what I can get for now.
Yeah, don't hold your breath with Disney there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they'll lock them back up quick.
Let's see. Move on here to a sad story. Fireforge Games files for bankruptcy following the release of the Ghostbusters game. Now, was this Ghostbusters game that Activision published it? But they're not really mentioned in this story that much, are they? But anyways, developer
Fireforge get enough bad press.
They filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy just 3 days after launching Ghostbusters. They owe Tencent, is that the name of the Chinese distributor? They owe them $12 million. And so they have ceased operations and are now undergoing liquidation of its assets. And they've been involved in other lawsuits that I could go on and tell you about, but it's just, I don't want to dabble in other people's failures. But
that just shows what shovelware that, Activision got the license and just grabbed these people here who they've had issues in the past. It was just shovelware. I mean,
the game was only in development for 8 months.
Yeah, I mean, they're just using the name to try and get some money, and another instance of Activision being Activision. I mean, I wish they'd put some effort into it, especially with the Ghostbusters franchise, because the last one that came out for, what was it, 360? I wish that was backwards compatible. I love that game. That was great.
Those guys over at Activision have been pretty quiet lately, right? You haven't seen any articles recently with Bobby Kotick or Eric Hirschberg. No. I mean, maybe their names will pop up again soon when the next Call of Duty comes out or when the next Destiny update comes out. But for a while there, you were getting Bobby Kotick stories monthly or bi-monthly. You're not hearing squat from them. Once they bought themselves back or out of that deal, whoever, once he put a lot of his own money up, right?
Oh, right, yeah, where they almost got bought out there.
Right, yeah.
Can you talk about Activision a little bit more? I need more salt for my fries.
Okay. That's a clear sign that we need to move on. Now, Jay, let's talk about a little more Xbox One S. These are some pretty heady technical articles here from both Eurogamer and Tweaktown. The first one from Tweaktown says the Xbox One S uses 16 nm. Is that how you would describe that? Nanometer, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Nanometer APU from AMD. It's overclocked 61 megahertz over the Xbox One. Do you want to speak to that at all?
A lot of people have been, they said that it's the same thing as the Xbox, so people are kind of really latching on to the, this information. It is, like I've said before, I mean, they even did it with a 360. They made the chip smaller. The smaller the chip, the cooler it runs too. So that's part of the reason why they were able to make it so much smaller than the regular one. This is basically a lot of technical data about what they've done with the console. So it's a smaller chip and it's actually is faster than the than the regular one.
So
61 megahertz.
I want to read this quote here from Albert Pinello, who's the Senior Director of Product Management and Planning at Microsoft. He says, some games, ones that utilize dynamic resolution and or unlocked frame rates, may see a very minor performance improvement. Our testing internally has shown this to be pretty minor and is only measurable on certain games, so we didn't want to make it a selling point for the new console. So again, a more reasonable, measured approach from Albert Pinello opposed to Mikey Bauer, who's going all in, pushing all his chips in the middle, saying, you got to get this. This is going to make your games look amazing. Right?
Well, let's see, what is it they mentioned here? It's a 7% overclock on the GPU, which it's not in either one of these articles that I've got in here, but there was some place that measured it and said that in some cases you'll get a 9 frame per second gain by using between the 1 and the 1S. So it's not huge, but it is something. So
Alex from the 40cast said that he had Madden, last year's Madden, up on the PS4 and on the Xbox One S, and he was just simply switching his input on his TV and bounced back between the two, and he said the Xbox One S, and definitely made the game look better. So I have a feeling what's going on here with some of these executives is I think Mikey Bauer is trying to give you the truth and not hide behind any sort of marketing spiel, and I think people like Phil Spencer and Albert Pinello are taking a more measured approach because they don't want to piss off people that already have invested in the Xbox One and now feel they have something that's already out of date within 3 years, right? So then they're not trying to go, head and shoulders above and say, wow, this thing is great, you got to get your hands on it, and sort of make people feel that their purchase is already devalued. I think that's what's going on. Could be wrong, but
which is strange because usually, if this thing's more powerful, it's going to give you 9 frames more, which is like, okay, it's not really a huge difference and probably not even noticeable to the human eye,
sometimes
except for the 4K. So
sometimes my best jokes are not even acknowledged on Twitter. I just put 21 plus 9 equals 30, and no one really paid attention. No one really paid attention to that, and but what are you going to do? Some work and some don't, right, Sean?
That's correct.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I am eager to get my hands on this in a few weeks, 2 weeks. Hopefully those weeks fly by. I want to see what this thing is like, put it through its paces. Now, when you get the SJ, is it going in the basement or upstairs? The upstairs.
The 4K is in the living room, just like yours.
Yep.
You have your 4K in the living room. Mine is too.
No. So what are you going to do with all your game? Are all your games on all your games that are on the Xbox One S in your living room, on your Xbox One in the living room? Are you moving those over to external, or are you going to reinstall them? What is your approach?
I'll move them over to the externals and just move them and connect the externals.
Uh-huh. Now, the week I was away, did you get a chance to interact any more with the summer update? I know you already had it with the preview program, but any more interaction with that at all?
I really haven't noticed much of a difference from when we were just basically in the preview itself. Cortana is working better, even though she's still a piece of shit.
I was listening.
As my wife says on a daily basis.
I was listening to a little bit of the Major Nelson podcast today, and they had Mikey Bauer on, and he was talking about how great the Windows 10 stores now, how they're integrated, and how people can be creating their own apps in their basement, these homebrew apps for news readers and background music. I don't know if I want people. We've seen on the Windows 10 devices, and especially on Android as well, a lot of these homebrewed. You see a little bit of that on the iOS store, clones of games and things like that. I'm not sure how much.
A lot of garbage.
Yeah, I don't want that shit, mudding up my store. You know what I mean? Hopefully there's a way. I haven't looked yet, so maybe it's already there, and I'm worrying over nothing. But I don't want these homebrew. And I have nothing against people that want to, practice and hone in on their skills at home and think they have something worthwhile to offer to people. I hope that's what we're getting. But we're also, you got to admit, we're getting a lot of crap too. The people just want to say, hey, I made this, and maybe they have nefarious reasons for why they made this. So hopefully we won't see a lot of that crap come through the store. But I got to check.
It's already at a point now when you go into the store. Go into the store now and go and look through some of the, was it recently released? It's like, I've never even heard of half this shit. I mean, the piles of them, 25, 30 more games. That I don't even know what the hell they are. And it's like, these just released this week. It's like, don't even know what they are. Didn't even hear about them.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been too bad. They do keep the big games at the top, so it works. So, I mean, we had the kind of the same thing with the 360 where they had, what was it, the...
indie stuff?
The indie stuff that they were putting out, so...
Well, Sean, this is all stuff that you'll get to enjoy once you are a proud Xbox owner once again. Awesome. But you can enjoy it you certainly can enjoy it already on your Windows 10 store on your PC, as they're supposed to be the same store, right? They're integrated together. It's supposed to be the same exact thing.
Yep, same exact thing.
Cool.
They say that, but it is a little bit different. When you pull up Xbox One games, you get the price and everything's right there. When you pull up a 360 game, you actually have to click into it to get the price. Instead of like with the Xbox One, when it'll say, just have the little box with the price in it, buy now. With a 360, you have to click to get price, and then it kind of goes into it. So it is a little bit different, but it's still, you can access it on the One pretty readily now. So
cool.
I'm looking forward to it.
Well, the only other news that I want to talk to, it's not in the planner, is Suicide Squad. If you listen to Gamers Unscripted this week, much against Joe's taste, they talked a little bit about Suicide Squad, and they broke all sorts of records this week. I know we don't talk a lot about movies and things like that, but for a movie to be such hate for it, boy, it cleaned up at the theaters. Have you guys had a chance to see this at all?
Not yet, but I'm going to go see it.
Yeah, same here. I want to go see it. A lot of people, reviewers, have panned it and said, this is garbage. Or you got people, the hardcore comic people, kind of like Joe. I mean, I can understand. He's read the books and he wants the story to at least fit, the story that's been in there. And heard that maybe the characters were not the best in the movie. But a lot of people are saying they enjoyed it on Twitter. In my timeline, they're saying they went to see it and they really enjoyed it. So
it has set a record for the August movie debut. It earned 135.1 million domestically and close to 250 million overseas.
Not shabby.
Right.
For a movie that sucks.
That's a lot. That's incentive enough for them to keep cranking out this DC and Marvel stuff over and over again, if that's what people want, Batman vs. Superman wasn't a great movie either, supposedly, but I think that did very well too.
No, I don't think that did great, but you're going to get a lot from the Batman name, especially with the past ones were good, but so I think it did half decent.
Yeah, it didn't do bad. I mean, I think that was just a setup for the Justice League.
I think the only one that really tanked was probably the X-Men movie. I think that one didn't do well at all.
Oh, did it? Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Because I know they said Suicide Squad more than doubled X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh, wow.
And Suicide Squad pulled slightly ahead of Deadpool. So it has done very well. It has done very well for itself.
More than Deadpool?
Yep.
Oh, that's true. It's not rated R. It's PG-13, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Well, cool. Anything else you guys want to talk about, or should we move into shout-outs and stuff?
I think we move on. It's been a slow week. There's really not.
Yeah, the two big things.
News out of rumors at this point. Just so thin. So.
Yeah, the two big things obviously are No Man's Sky and the Xbox One S. Neither one of them, much to Jeremy of Dad's Getting Grounded chagrin, can we talk about. I know he comes to us exclusively for news, and I'm sorry that I'm letting you down this week, Jeremy, that I cannot speak to either. But please tune back in. And
Jeremy, check out Headlander. You'll like it.
In subsequent episodes. All right, Jay, any sort of shout-outs or plugs?
Not really. I mean, we're recording this on a Monday because we've been busy, and So not much has been going on. So
All right.
have much. Just to the listeners and the other casts that we listen to, thank you all for putting good stuff in our ears, and for the listeners for listening to us.
Sean, how about you?
I do have a couple. I'm going to shout out Lucky Stiff, our good friend Nick from Games on the Mind on Twitch, streaming right now, and his tagline is "Bald man with daddy issues continues to rage."
So what's he playing there?
God of War.
God of War.
And one other streamer I'd like to shout out is Silent One 8383. If you ever want to know what RP is like in Ark, you should go check her out. She's really good, and she's got a beautiful voice. She can actually really sing, so it's kind of cool.
Let's see. Obviously, shout out to Gamers Unscripted and the 40 cast this week. They had great shows without me. That's probably no surprise to anybody. Usually I bring those shows down, so I'm glad that Joe filled in for me on Unscripted. It was a great show, and it was great to hear Vic Joe back on the 40 cast, a podcast legend. So
Yes.
All pulled up.
yes, he had some bad woes there. Ladder with not the right amount of steps or length, or to hate
If I had all the issues he had with that installation of that pool, somebody would be dying.
dying. Really, you going that?
Wow, come on, do your fucking job, motherfucker.
Too soon. Too soon.
Speaking of that, I just go off on a tangent here very, very quickly. I was perusing the news before I was making dinner, and some girl locally here, 19, got in a fight at a bar. So immediately that tells you she was at a bar that someone was serving her, because in Massachusetts, and I think most states you have to be 21 to drink. I'm pretty sure that's a U.S.
Yes.
wide law at this point.
Yep.
So she was getting arrested for, being drunk and disorderly, because she was in a fight. And the cops are trying to arrest her, and she bit the cop's ear off.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
She took a Tyson?
She took a Tyson and bit a chunk of the guy's ear off. And they
Welcome to Massachusetts.
And they couldn't reattach it. So she is. And immediately when shit like that happens, as I go to Facebook and I try to look them up and see what these people look like, and she looked like a nice, sweet, wholesome girl from Marblehead, Massachusetts, and boy, she's in a heap of trouble. They deemed her, unsafe to release, and so she's going to be held in jail for the next 22 days. 19-year-old, they're holding her for 3 weeks until she goes back to court. No bail. So, well, that just goes to show you what happens when you bite a cop's ear.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to take a bite. You're supposed to take a bite out of crime.
Well, and with the news recently, maybe she was taking a bite out of crime.
Oh,
Jeez. Well,
We won't go there. That's on a different podcast. But where was I going with all this? Shout outs to all those podcasts that I'm usually on that I wasn't on. Go check them out because you'll enjoy them more because I'm not on them. Did I thoroughly confuse everyone? I hope so. Shout out to Corey and Joe for not being here. Hopefully we'll hear from them in 2 weeks because they won't be on next week either. And anything
that's why I didn't shout them out. I miss them.
And I should say a reminder to you can go to represent.com/store/gamers in beta if you want a gamers in beta t-shirt, maybe for you or for your wife or girlfriend or anybody. You can go check them out. I know Alex from the 40cast tweeted a picture of him wearing his, and I was wearing my new one proudly in Iceland. So hopefully,
I'm waiting for mine.
Yours hasn't shown up yet?
No.
Damn it. Well, when it does come in, make sure you tweet out a photo of it. We want to see it.
Absolutely.
That's what she said. We want to see it.
Let's see it.
So, Jay, why don't you end this bad boy?
Well, until next time, same beta time, same beta channel. Glad to have Mike back. See ya.
You can't pass me, I am the pinnacle. I'm the zenith, I mean it, I'm unstoppable. With a gas and a half a pack of cigarettes. Stop wearing sunglasses, yeah, hit it. 1-800, eat shit. 1-800, eat shit. 1-800, eat shit. 1-800, eat shit. You don't like the things I do. I got some advice for you. Oh, baby.
Yeah, listen, you can always carve time out to play with yourself, okay?
Yeah. Jesus Christ, where's Corey with these fucking outtakes?
Oh,
shit.
5 minutes of Pornhub and I'm good to go.